Resident Evil Director's Cut is one of my favorite horror games.
What is it?
Watch out! It's a monster!
Let me take care of this.
In fact, that entire era of low-poly, tank-controlled horror games is fantastic in my book, and it was only a matter of time before indie studios took up the battle bringing that gameplay style back into the modern gaming context. Puppet Combo have been making horror games since 2012 with their release of Minotaur. I've not played their earlier work, but Murder House is proof enough that they know horror, and they know how to make horror work. Dread is the core component of any successful horror game, and Murder House nails Dread perfectly. There are two primary ways to play Murder House. Firstly, there's the prologue chapter, where you play a kid lost in a mall at night.
You've gotta help me. The Easter Bunny's trying to kill me. I fell asleep and I got locked in.
This mode teaches you all of the key components of the gameplay, while also introducing you to the main villain of the game, the Easter Ripper.
Oh, that guy? He was a weirdo.
He stalks the child in the opening section, functioning as a one-hit kill. Insta-death enemies aren't new to the horror genre, but something Murder House does differently here is how the prologue just ends if you die. You don't reset to an earlier checkpoint, you just die, and this death functions canonically as one of the final murders the Easter Ripper would commit before their capture by police. After the conclusion of the prologue, either through an untimely death or by reaching the end of the scenario, you then have the option, an option you could do right away by skipping the prologue, of playing the primary scenario. In the shoes of Emma, an intern at a local news station, you'll explore the house where the Easter Ripper grew up, which is also the place where he committed his atrocious acts. The house isn't huge. There's a greenhouse out back, a basement, 3 rooms on the first floor, one of which is the save room of the game, 4 rooms on the second floor, and an attic. This game does a good job at introducing you to the location, giving you free range to explore most of the house unmolested by the future stalking bunny. After solving a few light puzzle sequences, the blood will start flying.
Help me! There's somebody else in here!
Once it does, the Easter Ripper enters into the fray, and he can show up essentially anywhere in the house. It seems random, and I can say this because after dying once to the Easter Ripper, I would go through the same steps I did before dying just to be safe in the same location I encountered him in the first place. This section of the game is simply wonderful. I genuinely jumped several times through the middle to end of this game's hour-and-a-half runtime, and I really enjoyed the way this game's puzzles worked out. By the end of my time with it, the house reminded me a lot of the Spencer Mansion, mainly because of the way the puzzles worked out and the way the house's design allows you to open up multiple ways of navigating it by the end of the game. It's clear Puppet Combo were inspired by the late 90s style of survival horror game, and to be honest, this style is far better at conveying and maintaining horror than a lot of modern games are. One of the biggest things Puppet Combo does to create this sense of dread is the way they restrict your ability to save. Restricting save ability is something horror games have done since the Alone in the Dark days, and it's kind of ironic how this gameplay mechanic makes a horror game better. In any other genre, limiting the player's ability to save would be objectively bad. But in a horror game, limited saves improve the horror by targeting what gamers fear most: lost progress. Murder House limits saves in 2 ways. Firstly, you can only save with a pencil, which functions as this game's versions of ink ribbons from Resident Evil. There are only 4 pencils in the game, which is a good enough number since the game is so short. Secondly, the save room is blocked off whenever you're being chased by the Easter Ripper, as in, the game will not let you enter the only safe room of the game. This is a feature that separates this game from Resident Evil titles, since those games always allowed you to enter a save room to create safety for yourself, regardless of what was chasing you or is still on the other side of that door. Other times, the save room might be unavailable if Tom, one of the other survivors running around, is in there, holding the door shut. This only happened to me one time, and I'm assuming it was Tom in there doing that since he was the only other survivor at the time it happened. It being Tom is kind of disturbing too, especially given how this game ends. And this is the point in any horror media where we have to ask ourselves, well, why wouldn't we just leave? This question plagues a lot of horror media, since in a lot of ways, the haunted protagonists would be safe if they just left the location they were being stalked in. Murder House answers this question a little bit, in that the Easter Ripper locks all of the exits, forcing you to find another way out. Really, breaking a window and leaving seems like an easy way to get out, but I guess that would tell the bunny where you were immediately. The way out of Murder House is to find 4 Easter eggs hidden around the house. Once you find them all, a secret door opens, allowing you to go to the final boss. While looking for these, you'll find 2 weapons, a gun and a fire poker to protect yourself from the Easter Ripper. Since he's the only enemy in the game, they are only used on him. Wielding a Kopesh looking blade, the Easter Ripper does a nice job at being a stalker enemy. He joins Mr. X in the pantheon of horror game stalkers who can't be killed. The fire poker and gun only deter him from following you, essentially despawning him. Since bullets are so scarce, and you do need them for the final boss, I suggest you just hide instead, a mechanic that works similarly to the one in Clock Tower and Hunting Grounds. Saying anything else about this game would absolutely spoil it, so let's rank it. I rate games on a bronze, silver, gold, or platinum basis, with gold being bad and platinum being a must buy, a must play. I'm giving Murder House a gold rating. I absolutely recommend this title, and I do think it was one of the best games within the survival horror genre to release in the last couple years. However, I wouldn't call it a must play. Definitely check this one out, my guys. Should I review more games from Puppet Combo?
What do you think?
I think it's stupid.
Let me know in the comments below, and if you liked the video, please like, share, subscribe, and ding that bell for more really honest game reviews. Have an awesome day, guys.
Cut! Brilliant! Congratulations, guys, that's a wrap.
A wrap? That ending doesn't make any sense. I would hate to have to edit this piece of shit.